Well, hello and welcome to the New Health Conversation. This is a podcast. It's not an infomercial. My name is Peter Greenlaw. I've been a nutritional researcher for 21 years, and I started the New Health Conversation movement, and we're here to explain to you and show you real medical proof behind regular diets and why they really don't work in the long run. And we're going to contrast that with I've got them right here, 7 new peer-reviewed human trial studies that really are going to obsolete everything you've ever thought about diets, not because I say so, because of the medical proof. So in the New Health Conversation, welcome to the New Health Conversation, by the way, we find that people, really are following one doctrine. I mean, if anybody can put it in the chat, show me a diet that's not some form of lowering calories, I'm glad to accept that. But the problem with that is that we now know, based on experts, that we're going to quote and show you in just a moment, that lowering calories to lose weight is one of the most unhealthy things you could ever do to your body. I know that sounds shocking to you maybe, but it's really, really true. And yet we're in a position at the New Health Conversation where we're going to show you, I'm going to put it in the chat so you can see it. This is our website. And at any moment, you can go to this website. It's completely free. If you go there, we won't even contact you. But here's what's so different about us. Number one, on the website, what you're going to see these medical trials, okay, on this new protocol, which is called R2M. But you're also going to see the medical studies done by the big medical journals on diets. What's the real, what really is going on? What really is happening long term as far as weight loss goes? You're probably going to be pretty shocked. We're also going to quote from the experts talking about the their words, misguided approach that counting calories is now, it's out the window. It's one of the most, like I said, one of the most unhealthy things you can ever do to lose weight. So the New Health Conversation, we only bring you medical evidence. We don't bring you opinions. Opinions shouldn't matter to you. They don't matter to us. What matters to us is hard scientific studies, okay? Now, I with all due respect, I look at people on TikTok and all the other social mediums, and what I see is them giving you opinions. Lots and lots of opinions from medical doctors and chiropractors and dietitians and nutritionists and weight loss coaches and fitness trainers. I don't fault them. They're telling you what they know. But I've never seen one of them hold up one shred of medical evidence about anything they're talking. They're giving you opinions, and opinions they're interesting, but they mean nothing in the medical world, and I can talk to that because I've been a nutritional researcher for 21 years. And in those 21 years, having written 4 best-selling books, done over 1,500 lectures all over the world, did 20 shows on PBS, in the medical world that meant zero, meant nothing. For 20 years, 20 of 21 years. Pretty frustrating. But thank goodness I stuck it out, and now these 7 new, let's see if I can, oh, there we go. These 7 new peer-reviewed human trial studies, which I'm holding in my hand, completely prove with what's called irrefutable evidence that what was discovered is going to it's going to obsolete every diet out there, no matter what you think, what you've ever done, etc. It's so, in the studies that I'm holding in my hand, there you go. It's so powerful that men and women who weren't even allowed to exercise, they actually lost as much weight in 7 days as anybody on 8 weeks of any diet. They lost as much weight in a month, in 30 days, as people lost in a year. Now, I know you might think that's preposterous. You can't wrap your head around it. That's okay. At any point, you can go to that website, the New Health Conversation. You can see the medical proof. On the one hand, you'll see the medical proof from on diets by the New England Journal of Medicine, by the Journal of the American Medical Association, contrasted with 7 peer-reviewed studies in all these other big journals, one of which is the Nature Communications, the #1 journal for weight loss and health in the entire world, okay? So this is really, really exciting what we're going to be able to do for you, okay? Now, welcome to the New Health Conversation. This is a podcast. It's not an infomercial. This is live. It's not AI, okay? We're going to show you today real medical proof about diets and why it's, why is 80% of America overweight and 50% are obese and 50% of Americans are pre-diabetic? I mean, something's terribly, terribly wrong. We're going to show you what's wrong today and absolutely prove it to you. So I'm going to get started in about 30 seconds. So I want to welcome some new people on. This is the New Health Conversation podcast. My name is Peter Greenlaw. I've been a nutritional researcher for 21 years. So we'll get started here in just a few more seconds, okay? Well, welcome everybody to the New Health Conversation podcast. My name is Peter Greenlaw. I've been a nutritional researcher for 21 years. I'm not telling you that to impress you, but I want to press upon you. I've written 4 best-selling books. I've done 20 shows on PBS. I was interviewed on the 4 biggest daytime shows in America and did over 1,500 lectures all over the world, including in China. And yet, for 20 of those 21 years, that didn't mean anything. It meant zero in the medical world. And that's kind of where we are today. Where we are today is when I look at the influencers on TikTok and the other social media platforms, I see them all coming on and giving you opinions. But I've never seen anybody give you one shred of medical evidence. We only deal in medical evidence. We don't give you opinions. Our opinions should matter. That's why, for example, I'm called the researcher of the researcher. So I do meta-analysis. I look at the studies and I bring you the evidence, from the studies. And we're gonna go over that in just a minute. But let's start with one of the biggest fallacies of all, and that's this whole thing about counting calories. Now, again, I don't want you to believe me, and anything I'm giving you right here is not my opinion. These are from these reports. Okay, so listen to this: why you shouldn't count calories. That's the title of this. Why you shouldn't. Truth is, calorie counting is a terrible approach for weight loss. They're saying that. While counting calories and restricting calories can help you lose weight in the short term, the approach has never been proven to keep weight off long term. What's even worse is 2/3 of people who try to count or restrict their calories will gain back more weight than they lost. 2/3 of the people. That's what you have to look forward to. You can go on a diet, any diet out there, you're going to lose weight. But if all the weight comes back, what's the point of even doing it in the first place? Let's go to another article written this time by Harvard Medical School. What are they saying about counting calories? This idea of a calorie in and a calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not only antiquated, it's just wrong, says Fatima Stanford, an obesity specialist at Harvard Medical School. She goes on to say, drop the calories notion. It's time to take a different approach, she says, putting the emphasis on what's in the calorie, not how many calories we're consuming. This is the point, that the whole concept of counting calories is so misguided now, and here's why. Well, several reasons. One, the human body doesn't know what a calorie is. Why are you counting calories? Because someone told you to. The only thing the body cares about, the only thing the body measures is nutrition. So let's put the word calorie aside and let's just talk about, if you want to go on, if you want to lose weight, the basic is you're going to consume less food. But have they ever told you when you're consuming less food, what else are you consuming less of? Nutrition. See, here's the oxymoron. So when you lower the amount of food and lower the amount of nutrition, the body ultimately goes into starvation mode. And in starvation mode, it won't burn fat, and it will look for nutrition. And where does it find it? In our organs, in our brain, kidney, liver, heart, starting in our muscles. Breaks our muscles down, converts them into carbohydrates for fuel, and 2 of the most unhealthy things that occur as a result of you losing lean muscle mass. Number 1, the body has no choice. When you begin to lose lean muscle mass, it slows down your metabolism. And not just your metabolism like when you're working out, that's what you've heard of, but something called your basal metabolic rate. That's the rate at which you burn calories when you're asleep or when you're sitting like I am right now, okay? But the worst part is also now when you lose lean muscle mass, it absolutely affects your own immune system, makes it less vibrant. If we've learned anything in the last 5 years, our immune system is critically important to us. So counting calories, did you ever think that fitting in your skinny jeans could be 2 of the most unhealthy things you've ever done by relying on regular food and lowering the content, really, of nutrition? Well, you're going to find in a moment why that is going to be completely blown out, okay? So now let's go and look at real medical studies on diets. Let's start with one of the big rages now. Time-restricted eating. Woo, it's a big deal. Don't eat for 16 hours and eat for 8, right? Well, this is the Journal of the American Medical Association study on time-restricted eating called intermittent fasting. Listen to what they said. The new research found that overweight adults who were assigned to routinely fast 16 hours daily, eating all their meals between noon and 8 p.m., probably known as the 16-8, gained almost no benefit from it, and over the course of 3 months, they lost 2 to 3.5 pounds, but most of the weight they shed was not body fat, but lean muscle mass. There's your Achilles heel for every diet out there. Okay, but we don't stop at one study. We don't want you to just believe one study. Now let's go to the New England Journal of Medicine, arguably probably the second biggest medical journal. I think you can see it there. Just so you don't think I'm making things up. I don't have to make things up. I only read from medical studies. I don't make any claims. I read from the studies. In this study, which was 12 months long, they had 2 groups of people. One group, they lowered calories. The other group, they did time-restricted eating. This is 12 months. I'm going to read from the study. The mean weight loss from baseline at 12 months by lowering calories was 16 pounds in a year. And time-restricted eating was even worse. It was 12.6 pounds in a year. Now, maybe you think that's okay. But again, here's what you need to be careful of. Both the time-restricted eating and daily caloric restriction diets led to the loss of lean muscle mass. This is what's going on in every diet out there. Maybe you don't want to believe it. It doesn't matter. We have the medical proof to prove it, okay? New England Journal of Medicine, one of the top medical journals in the world, they have no dog in this hunt. They don't have anything to do with the time-restricted eating or calorie reduction, but they ran the studies to see, well, wait a minute, what's all this buzz about? Because, again, they're recognizing 80% of Americans are overweight and 50% are obese. Does anybody think that's working? Now, let's contrast that and give you at least a preview. Here are the these are 7 new peer-reviewed studies I'm holding in my hand, which is not a diet. It has nothing to do with dieting. As a matter of fact, the main reason to do this is not to lose weight. The main reason to do this is to assist your own body in detoxification. I'll come back to this in a moment, I promise. But here's something that you probably aren't aware of. This is a new medical syndrome called TDOS. It's a registered trademark U.S. Patent Office. The T is for toxicity, the D is for deficiency, the O is for being overweight, and the S is for stress. And in case you didn't know it, we're talking about something that is absolutely not cool for us to be doing at all, because we're losing our lean muscle mass and slowing down our metabolism and impacting our immune system, okay? But one of the things that's happening that you probably don't know about, we're storing chemicals in our fat cells. That's what toxicity, deficiency, overweight, and stress. It's not every one of you on this call, every person in the world has the TDOS syndrome. What are you doing about it? Well, again, let's go even a little bit deeper. This is a really good book. Oh, you can see the title, The New American Diet, written by Stephen Perrin, editor-at-large at Men's Health. What are they saying about the chemicals that we're storing in our body? Well, first of all, what am I talking about? I'm talking about herbicides and pesticides and Scotchgard and Teflon. Did you all see the article about 2-3 weeks ago on Starbucks coffee, and I like Starbucks coffee, where they had between 50 and 100,000 microplastics in every cup of coffee? Were you aware of that? Were you aware when you drink that stuff, the plastic gets embedded in your visceral fat along with herbicides and pesticides? And by the way, the scientists have now given those chemicals a name. They call them obesogens. And they said, that's a scary word and one you've probably never heard before. But if you want to lose weight and keep it off for good and protect your body, your family, and your environment in the bargain, you'll need to understand the term. Simply put, obesogens are chemicals that disrupt the function of our hormonal systems, leading to weight gain and many of the diseases that curse the American populace. They go on to say, obesogens are altering the function of our genes and essentially reprogram us to gain weight. What are you doing about obesogens? Did you even know they existed before you got on this podcast today? Have any of these influencers ever even mentioned the fact that we're storing an adult on this podcast? You have between 1,000 and 2,000 chemicals embedded in your fat cells. What are you doing about it? Well, here's the point. The researchers, they knew this. So what did they do? They set out to say, wait a minute, is there something we can do to assist our own body in detoxification? Because here's what we know scientifically. Last night, when you went to sleep, as long as you didn't eat too late, your body, once you go to sleep, your digestion basically stops. And immediately your body begins a natural detox process. It's actually called autophagy, and it gets rid of the dead cells, right? Well, excuse me, essentially what these researchers were able to do is replicate that process while you were still awake. And how do they know that it was removing chemicals? Because they did the tests. They did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis proving that this was removing the chemicals from the body. As a matter of fact, the main reason to do this is not to lose weight, even though the weight loss was 12 times faster than any diet ever studied. And instead of people losing lean muscle, which I pointed out on all these other diets, with no exercise allowed, because the researchers didn't want exercise to be an outlier, they gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. We'll get into that in a moment about how in the world did they actually do that. But I want you to understand that these researchers who did the studies, they're the number one, considered the top nutritional weight loss researchers in the entire world for 38 years. They've looked at every diet out there, from paleo to keto to time-restricted eating to Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem, the Zone diet, the Mediterranean diet, the lose weight for your blood type, okay? And they saw results. I mean, here's what I'm going to tell you. Every single diet you've ever been on, absolutely 100%, you will see that you can lose weight on any diet. But the evidence is it's not just pretty clear, it's clear that up to 40% of what you're losing on any diet is your lean muscle mass. And as a result of that, what happens is your body slows down metabolism, and also it impedes the functionality of your own immune system. Well, in these studies, where men and women weren't allowed to exercise, they lost as much weight in 7 days as any of these other diets in 8 weeks. Also, they lost no water and gained 6 to 9%, not in a week, but it took a little while, because in a month they lost as much weight as people lost in a year, and in 8 weeks they shrank visceral fat by 33%. Now let me show you some examples of that, not photoshopped, although you think they will be. The first one, this is exactly 30 days. Her name is Kristen. You can see that she lost 21.2 pounds in 30 days and 38.75 inches, not Photoshop. Look at the difference in her stomach here and there. Those are not Photoshop pictures. Those are there we go, let me center it. Those are the actual, without any Photoshop, without AI, without anything, okay? And then this next one is also extremely, extremely dramatic, that this is 5 weeks, October 3rd to November 9th. Look at her before picture, and then look at the difference in her. Sorry, there. I think you can see it now. In her size, it's just unbelievable. But again, but they have the medical proof that the visceral fat is shrinking. You don't lose your fat cells, obviously, but you can shrink them. And now for the athletes out there, because this is not a weight loss program, okay? Okay, so day 1, day 5. Day 12. Look at that transformation over the course of really 11 days, because this is the morning of the 12th, the start of the 12th day. It was 11 days. So again, you can do any diet you want, but now we have the clinical evidence that what? That going on a diet by lowering calories is one of the most unhealthy things that you could ever do in your lifetime. Now, let's talk about how they did it, okay? Because that's the big question now that comes up. I mean, can you even put it in your head? What if safely you could lose as much weight in 7 days as in 8 weeks of any diet? Which one would you choose? Because the 8 weeks of dieting, according to the studies, that up to 40% of what you're losing is your lean muscle mass. And we know in all the studies, they already said before that 2/3 of people that go on a diet end up gaining more weight than they lost in the long run, right? Okay, so what did they do? 4 things. Number 1, the researchers developed a food list that people went to the grocery store, and it was about half the food they typically would consume. But the other half met the challenge of the 38 years of research, recognizing that when they put people on diets and they lowered the food consumption, they also lowered the nutrition. So now it was an oxymoron. Now what do? If we want to lose weight, we're going to lower the food input, but now we're lowering the nutrition, and as a byproduct of that, you're losing lean muscle mass, slowing your metabolism down, and impacting your immune system. So the point was that the food in North America is the nutrients that used to be there in really big quantities, it's kind of going straight downhill. So in order for them to give enough nutrition, people would have to consume so many calories that there's no way that they would lose weight, okay? They've been trying for 38 years to find the silver bullet for weight loss, which didn't come really from a weight loss approach. The researchers, like I said, their main object was to prove we could get the human body to detox these chemicals, which is the most important thing. The reason to do this is not to lose weight. There's so many other benefits. Obviously, the weight loss is, it's really in vogue, etc. But my point is, what if you could lose weight safely 12 times faster than a diet and gain all these other advantages, like gaining lean muscle mass? I mean, come on, are you kidding me? So the idea is that, okay, so half the food from the grocery store, and then there were 5 food groups that they researched that were found by fulfillment companies that come from all over the world. And where would they come from? They came from New Zealand, they came from South America, they came from Russia, Mongolia, Bangladesh, they even came from Nepal and the Himalayas. And the reason those 5 foods were so critical was it made up, not supplements, this is not supplements, these are foods, right? They made up for the lack of the nutrition in the regular food people were getting from the grocery store. So now they had the ingredients, half from the grocery store and half from around the world. Then they employed two completely new ways of consuming food, totally different. One is called protein pacing, completely contrary to like time-restricted eating or just eat when you're hungry, etc. Okay, and basically in protein pacing, I'm going to give you kind of the 50,000-foot view. They had people that were consuming specific amounts of proteins at specific amount of times over a long period of time. That was protein pacing. Then this is the other thing that's, you'll think I misspoke. They created intermittent nutritional fasting, not time-restricted eating, where people were consuming, again, nutrition regardless of the number of calories. But essentially what happened is it turned on the detox mechanism in the body, and they were able to prove that people were getting these unbelievable results. Now you'll see it on the screen there, the New Health Conversation. Let me spend a second on that. That is our website. If you go there, we will not go. Not only don't we know you went there, we promise we won't contact you. The only way we'll contact you is if you go to the website, look at everything. We want you to look at everything first, and then you can sign up for a free, and I mean free consultation, like no kidding. And the reason that we do that, we don't know anything about you. Do you want to gain weight? Do you want to lose weight? See, I see these influencers coming on and say, hey, three recipes to lose weight. Well, wait a minute. What if you're a diabetic? What if you have high blood pressure? What if you're high cholesterol? We don't do that. We do a free consultation with you to decide, okay, what do you want to try and do? Do you want to gain weight? Do you want to lose weight? Are you an athlete? We have people as young as 2. We have grandmas 90. We have a gentleman that had a heart transplant about 6 months ago. We have a couple of people with no gallbladders, no thyroids. I mean, it's all across the map, and we're not treating, diagnosing, making medical claims at all. What we're doing is we're allowing you to see the medical proof with no obligation on that website. You can see it right there, the New Health Conversation. Go through everything, really take some time, and then, and only then, if you like what you see, sign up for a free consultation. I said it 3 times because I've had people on this chatting saying, how much is the free consultation? It's like, are we that skeptical? Are we really that skeptical? What makes us different and what makes us unique is we only give you peer-reviewed human trial evidence. We don't have to make up anything. What's so great about science, it has no emotions. It has no judgment. It just is. It just is, okay? And these, look, you got to understand, these researchers, it took them 38 years of research to find this, which wasn't even a diet. The side benefit was this tremendous safe weight loss. Now, what are we so deficient in our food that they had to go all over the world to find one of the things we're the most deficient in are what are called trace ionic minerals. Now you've heard of iron, calcium, magnesium. Well, the experts say we need 70 of these trace ionic minerals, okay? And things like gold and silver and zinc and beryllium and boron and molybdenum, all right? Well, the research, and by the way, in the best organic food they've measured, you get 15 to 20 of the 70 minerals. But the researchers, through their research, they found fulfillment companies that were supplying food that had all 70 minerals. It starts to get pretty simple. You need 70 minerals, you're getting 20, okay? But the other thing, why did they gain lean muscle mass with no exercise at all? You probably find this very interesting. Well, the way that the body, first of all, you maybe have all heard the term amino acids, okay? There's a total of 20 amino acids that are available to us. 9 are essential, meaning you have to get them from your diet. Now, here's the misconception out there. The only way, this isn't a misconception, the only way you get amino acids is with a protein. But the protein itself is like the walnut shell. So what you want is you want what's inside the shell. You want the amino acids. So in Europe about 10 years ago, they developed a test through blood, urine, stool, and fat analysis where when you ingested a protein from a plant or an animal, you got all 20 amino acids. But that doesn't mean a thing to our body. What they were able to determine is, on a scale of 0 to 100, what percentage of those aminos were being used by our genes to make human protein. To give you an idea, we have 22,000 genes in our body. We make 22,000 different proteins, not with fats, not with carbs, and not with the protein itself. So for example, and I don't mean to make my vegan friends mad, but I'm just giving you the science. Something like a pea protein, they measured the absorption of the amino acids. It was only 10% out of 100. 90% are actually, what's not converted into amino acids are turned into toxic waste called nitrogen catabolites. And that's urea, creatine, ammonia, and glucose, all right? Now meat is higher. Whether it's steak, chicken, liver, fish, halibut, trout, doesn't matter. It's 30%, okay? Now, the reason this is important for muscle mass is one of the 9 essential amino acids is called leucine. You have to have that in order for your body to really be able to make muscle. So if you lift, that's why bodybuilders will consume 1 to 2 grams of protein for every pound they weigh, trying to get more leucine. But the amount of waste they're producing, they don't really understand it. So let's use an example. Let's say, for example, that they tell you to have 120 grams of protein today to lose weight, whatever. So you would think you're getting 120 grams of protein. Well, if it's from steak, chicken, liver, fish, whatever, you're getting 30%. So out of 120 grams, you're getting 36. And the rest, so that's what, 80 some, more than that, 90, yeah, 80, I think it's 84. Whatever, it doesn't matter. But a huge 70% of that, well, yeah, 84 grams would be waste that the kidneys have to get rid of. That's why, God forbid, if you ever had a friend on kidney dialysis, they don't have any protein at all, right? And yet we can't live without protein because that's how we get our amino acids, right? Okay, well, one of the 20 amino acids called leucine, I guess I mentioned that, is how you make lean muscle. So in the studies, they found a source where the absorption of the amino acids was 91%. The main reason the researchers didn't want people to exercise, they wanted to see what would happen when people were exposed to 91% of leucine. What happened with no exercise, despite losing weight 12 times faster than any diet, they gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. Are you beginning to see the possibilities here? Why it's so crazy? I'm not sure what they're talking about over the left. Doesn't matter. So again, what did they do and how did they do it? Because it was a combination of food from the grocery store and these 5 foods that, for example, contained all 70 minerals, not 20, and a 91% absorption of amino acids and lots of other botanicals and other elements that just aren't available in big enough quantities in the food in this country. Because the researchers had tried things like this before. They had, like I said, they've looked at about every diet out there. I'm telling you, they were totally shocked because you'd think, oh, the weight loss is amazing and they gain lean muscle. That's the tip of the iceberg compared to what else they found. Number 1, blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides, all came down dramatically in a month along with weight. Hunger came down 41% in 30 days, and inflammation, which is, according to the medical world, the underlying cause of every disease, it came down 25% in 30 days. No one's ever seen anything like this. The main reason for you to consider doing this is not to lose weight. That's like, for us, it's a joke. That's like a throw-in. Now, let's come back here. Let's go back to this really, I really like this book, the New American Diet. And let's talk about nutrition. They have an amazing quote in here. And this is what the researchers did. We'll come back to that in just a moment. Listen to this quote. The more nutrition you give your body, the fewer calories it wants to eat, and the more efficiently it burns the calories you do eat. So what was ironic, again, back to these studies, these people, in this case, this obesity journal study compared it to the heart healthy diet called the Mediterranean diet, which, by the way, has been the #1 diet 7 years in a row by U.S. News and World Report. Well, it wasn't even fair. On the Mediterranean diet, it took them 8 months to lose 10.2 pounds, and about 40% of that was lean muscle mass. The people in this study consumed more calories than the people in the Mediterranean diet. Well, they lost 16 pounds in 30 days, and instead of losing lean muscle, they gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. But here's the other thing. After a year, the people who had done the Mediterranean diet had gained all their weight back. These people that did these studies had maintained their weight. So at any point, I'm inviting you to go to the New Health Conversation and really take some time to look at all the data. There's even an interview there with the #1 nutritional researcher in the world who says after 38 years of looking at every diet out there, they would never recommend to any of their patients a traditional diet of lowering calories. They said we'd be doing such an injustice because we got the proof now that people can lose as much weight in a week as 8 weeks of any diet without losing lean muscle and having all these other health benefits: blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides, and inflammation. Hunger going down 41% in a month. Okay, now why did that? How could they consume more calories and yet lose weight 12 times faster? Back to their quote. This is what they were able to recreate. The more nutrition you give your body, so they gave them more calories, the fewer calories it wants to eat. That's why hunger went down 41% in a month. But the more efficiently it burns the calories you do eat. So it had nothing to do with the amount of calories. It had to do with the kind of calorie that was nutritionally dense. So imagine, for example, you're torturing yourself going on these diets, but you got to understand when you lower, I hate the word calorie, but let's just use it as an example. Really what it means is you're consuming less food. But who's ever told you that at the same time you're consuming less nutrition? And your body goes in starvation mode, and your body will convert your muscles into carbohydrates. It's that simple. You can go to that website. You'll see before and afters. It will shock you. You'll swear we photoshopped them. You will. And I already showed you just 3 examples. And these are the least dramatic ones that are on the website. Nothing's photoshopped. On my kids' life, on my grandkids' life, I swear, nothing is photoshopped. We don't need to do it. We've got medical science on our side. We don't have celebrity endorsements or athletes or people giving us opinions. We don't need to do that. We don't want you to believe us, but we hope you have enough confidence to understand that when you have a peer-reviewed human trial study, it's irrefutable. There's no point in having to discuss. It's already been reviewed by the top nutritional researchers and medical in the entire world. And what's their job? To discredit what these researchers were saying happened. But they didn't do that. They proved it. That's why it became a published, peer-reviewed human trial study proving what they said. That's why with us, we're not making any claims. We're reading from the studies. But look at this. Okay, that's 30 days, 21.2 pounds, 38.75 inches. You can see that. Look at that side view. Look at her stomach. I'll come a little bit closer so you can see it. And look at the other one. That's not Photoshop. Most women on this, they're losing a whole dress size in a week. How much would that excite you? I always tell women the most expensive part of this whole thing is the new wardrobe you're going to have to buy. I'm not kidding you. It's so unbelievable because, again, it's not a weight loss program, okay? Now, the other thing, look at this. This is exactly 5 weeks. So October 3rd to November 9th. Let me get the glare off here. There. Whoops. Okay, there we go. You can see it right there. It's like it's a different person. We didn't Photoshop that. You don't have to believe us. And again, you're free. We're just giving you an option. If you want to do any of those diets, go for it. But there's more evidence coming that maybe you're going to have at least a second thought. And look at this athlete. Day 1, actually in pretty darn good shape, 4 days later, and 11 days later. Let me get in as close. There you go. You can see the difference in the stomach area. The point is that you can do any diet you want. But let's take another look at traditional diets. This time, this is a study that's done in the Journal of the American Medical Association. The title is Comparison of Weight Loss Among Named Diet Programs. First of all, they looked at 48 different studies, 7,286 people. And they named it's called meta-analysis when you look at more than one study. They named all the diets that they analyzed, from paleo to keto to Mediterranean, time-restricted eating, fasting, recycling carbs, lose weight for your blood type, the zone diet, the Atkins diet, Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem, and many more. What's going on here? Miss Yvette, we're talking about a revolutionary new weight loss protocol that is not a diet, where men and women without any exercise at all lost as much weight in 7 days as in any diet in 8 weeks. They lost as much weight in 30 days as people lost in a year. Instead of losing water or lean muscle mass, they gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass with no exercise allowed. That's what we're talking about. People are stunned. They're like, what? How is this even possible? Okay. So let me finish on this particular medical study right here. So what they did a 12-month study well, they analyzed the studies that were 12 months. There were 48 of them, 7,286 people, and they named all the major diets, okay? When they looked at the results, they took the diet with the least amount of weight and compared it to the diet with the most amount of weight. In 12 months, the only difference was about 10 ounces. And in a year's time, people lost 16 pounds. But again, 30-40% of the weight loss was lean muscle mass. See, this is your Achilles heel to any diet out there. Versus, again, I keep coming back to these studies right here, the 7 peer-reviewed human trial studies that came out in the last year. They're making diets obsolete. I mean, let me ask you something. Why would you do, if you believe in science, and if you go to the website, you can see the physical studies and the interview with the #1 nutrition researcher in the world. He doesn't sell anything. Researchers, they used, okay? I mean, they have no commission from the grocery list they put together. They have no commission from these 5 foods from the fulfillment companies that come from all over the world. Their job as researchers is to prove the theories. Okay, that's what they did. I know it sounds, it's hard for any of you to wrap your head around it, but when we're talking about people being able to lose as much weight in a week as in 8 weeks of any diet, aren't you a little bit curious? Doesn't that make you at least curious? Now, the other part is they lowered blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides, all in a month. I mean, in 30 days, not 30 weeks. It's so revolutionary that, like, the medical world is shocked. They can't believe that this is even possible. Now, one other thing, another piece of medical proof I want to show to you is you might think it's just a U.S. problem. No, no, no. This is a study right here. It was published in The Lancet, the biggest medical journal in the world out of England, in March 19th, 2024. Listen to what they found. In a new study, they now say there's over 1 billion, with a B, billion people worldwide that are clinically obese, making obesity the leading form of malnutrition worldwide. I didn't misread that. Then they went on to say most people are not aware that obesity and being underweight are both forms of malnutrition, because in both cases the people are not getting the right amounts of vitamins, minerals, nutrients, and the types of calories required to be healthy. Here's your downfall in all your diets. You're going in there, you're decreasing the input of food. You can call it calories if you want, but the problem is you're also lowering nutrition. So obese people are malnourished. What do you think happens to you when you go on a diet? You're basically malnourishing yourself, okay? Now, yes, curious. Well, that's why we're going over this. So, Yvette, let me come back one more second. So let's go back and take a look at these before and after pictures, which are not photoshopped, okay? So the first one, this young woman, and she didn't have that much weight to lose, but she lost 21.2 pounds in a month, 38.7. Let me make sure you can see it. There we go. Look at the side view. Look at her stomach. Look what happened. And that's just in 30 days, not 30 weeks. And then this woman, again, that's why this isn't a diet. I mean, you look at the picture. Let me come back. There we go. The picture on the right compared to the picture, well, I don't know if it's your right or left. I'm sorry. But you can see October 3rd. Let me bring it up. Sorry. I don't know why it's... Okay, there we go. Hopefully you can see that. But look at that, and then look at the one on the left. And then this athletic picture, this is exactly, that's 11 on the red and black shorts, that's day 1. In the middle is day 5, and on the far left is day 12. There's nothing in the world like this. Nothing on planet Earth. It's even on the same zip code as this. And so what I'd like to leave you with is you have now an option, but it's up to you. I promise, if you go to the website, it's called The New Health Conversation. Okay, glitch. Go to the website, The New, N-E-W. Can someone put it up there for me, The New Health Conversation, just so people are totally clear, or I can put it up there myself. I'll do it for you. This is where you want to go, The New Health Conversation. You go there and you'll see all the medical proof. And then there's at the very bottom, if you scroll all the way down, it says free consultation. And we mean free. And what we do is we evaluate, what do you want to do? Do you want to gain weight? let alone lose weight? Do you have any, medical challenges? Do you want to maybe sleep better at night? Whatever it is. So, and he put it up there for me too, the new health conversation. Those, you go there, I promise you, those they're free personal consultations are really important for you, because again, it depends on what you want to do. We have people that need to lose 150 pounds. We have people that want to lose 10 pounds. We have people that, I've got kids as young as 2 doing parts of this. I got grandmas in their 90s. I have a man that had a heart transplant. I've got people with no gallbladders. I got people with no thyroids. We're not treating, curing, making any medical claims or prescribing anything. All I'm saying is that basically what this is the most dense nutrition that anybody's ever seen on the planet. Now, granted, they had to go all over the world to find it, but then the other thing that was unique, it's one thing to have the ingredients, 50%, just to let you know, Yvette, from the grocery store. You actually would get a grocery list that you could shop with, but only about half the food you used to, actually less than that, because the portion sizes that they did in the research are probably way less than what you're used to, because the other 5 foods that came literally from all over the world, they came from Tibet in the Himalayas, they came from Russia and Mongolia, Manchuria, they came from New Zealand, and they came, well, my dog, sorry about that. Anyway, the bottom line is that they were able to combine this is not supplements, let's get that out of your mind, it's not supplements, right? But then there were 2 different ways that they proceeded to consume the food. One is called protein pacing. It's a complete antithesis to something like time-restricted eating or just eat when you're hungry. That's a bunch of nonsense, okay? The body so protein pacing is a certain amount of proteins over a certain amount of time in very specific intervals and very specific amounts, okay? The second part of it is that they did something called intermittent nutritional fasting, not fasting, okay? But again, if you, any idea of how much this will cost? Again, Glitch, and I'm not trying to be evasive, we don't know anything about you, okay? But here's the good news, Glitch. Less than half the food you typically buy at the grocery store, you won't be buying. So that's a big offset to this. So most people, I would say, I'm just ballparking this, right? But I would say that most people feel that adding these 5 foods to if you took what you're spending on food now in a month, you take more than half of the food you're not going to be buying, okay? So maybe it would cost you over and above what you're spending now. I'm just ballpark, maybe $100 more. But the idea also is that this program is called R2M, Race to Maintenance. I will promise you this, by the time people get to maintenance, their overall food bill goes down. Because then, once you've reached maintenance, you don't need all 5 of these foods from all over the world. Now, you can imagine they're shipping them from Nepal, in the Himalayas, from Russia and Mongolia and Manchuria, from New Zealand and South America. But the reason they did that, you can't go down to your local grocery store and find anything with this massive, massive amount of nutrition. So, again, the 5 foods are groups. There's things like, there's a specialized bone broth, there's a specialized aloe vera, there are shake. But it's not just that. It's not just a combination of the 5 foods. The 5 foods are in combination with the regular foods. So there's a whole list of the integration with that. So it's not just that it's the 5 foods. It's the combination of the 5 with that. And if you go to the website, like I said, go look at the medical evidence and then decide if you want to do a free consultation or not, okay? Let's see. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that I wanted to cover. I think that's really it for this podcast for today. I hope you will, for yourself, go to the New Health Conversation and look at all the medical proof. We're not going to contact you. And if you like what you see, scroll down to the bottom and it says free consultation. And I mean a free consultation, not a trick, not a gimmick, okay? So it's really, it's up to you. But all I can tell you is, if you've ever seen, now, I know you probably think it's Photoshopped and it's not. But when we're talking about, in her case, she lost 21.2 pounds in a month and 38 inches. And you can see the shrinkage in her body. And this lady here, you can see October 3rd, and then this, look at the transformation. It's crazy, right? So the point is, you can do any diet you want. But why in the world would you choose a diet where it takes you 8 weeks to lose what you could lose in a week, and the weight you're losing in 8 weeks on a diet is the most unhealthy weight you can lose because you're losing lean muscle mass? And when that happens, your body slows down metabolism. And the other part of it is it also impacts your own immune system. So again, I encourage you to go to, oh God, no, nowhere near, oh my gosh, no. No, more like $100 a month more than what you spend on regular food. Oh my gosh. Tracy, I just went over it with you. I would say that if you had your normal food budget, say you're spending $500 a month, okay, for, I don't know, maybe it would be $600 a month, because 50% of the food you're normally buying, you're not, and I don't know what you're spending on food now. So it's not like I won't answer it, but also, Tracy, it's not a one-hit wonder. This is not 30 days and then you're done. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm not upset, Tracy. I'm trying to be as honest as I can. But it's not that simple to answer it because we don't know anything about you. But Tracy, this is what you're buying. Sorry, there we go. There's nothing like that. But Tracy, you're getting the most nutrient-dense food in the world, coming from all over the world. Maybe you'd spend $100 a month more than what you're spending on food now. But are you going to go to Nepal? I'm being silly, of course. You want to go to the Himalayas behind me? Because that's where some of it came from, for Nepal and the Himalayas, like no kidding. It came from Russia, Mongolia, Manchuria. It came from South America and New Zealand. Tracy, do you want the results? Oh, okay, good, Tracy. Hope we're still friends. I hope you're not mad at me. But honestly, if you go and do a free consultation, you'll appreciate how complicated this is. As you know, in cooking, there's one thing to have ingredients, it's another thing to have the recipe. Well, this is like something like that, but this is not a diet. This isn't like, hey, we're going to give you 3 recipes to lose weight. It's a whole different way of consuming. Good, Tracy, for your benefit, etc. But I hope for all of you, the new health conversation is devoted for you. It's devoted to give you the scientific proof of what is possible. You can still choose the regular diet. We're just giving you an option. We're just giving you an option. We're not here to, and even if you do the free consultation, it's not going to be a bait and switch. We're not, this whole talk is about this. Why diets are failing us, okay? Well, does anyone think they're working? 80% of America's overweight and 50% are obese. But the point is, are you excited about, for example, the study that I think is the most interesting is, what did I do with it here? Hold on just a second, I'll find it. Is the study that's the meta-analysis of 48 different studies. It's over here in one. Sorry about that. Give me one more second. This study, you may not be able to lead it, in Journal of American Medical Association, where they looked at 48 different studies of every diet, named all the diets. In a year's time, people lost 16 pounds. But when they looked at paleo, keto, Mediterranean, Cornish, lose weight for your blood type, there was only in a year's time, from the least amount of weight to the most amount of weight lost, 10 ounces in a year. And then one other one that's really significant is the New England Journal of Medicine study, this one right here, and again, hopefully you can read it. I don't know why anyway, it's the New England Journal of Medicine, 12-month study on one group of people was lowering calories to lose weight, the other one was doing time-restricted eating. In 12 months, I'm going to read from the study, the mean weight loss from baseline at 12 months was 16 pounds. That's in a year, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, and time-restricted eating was worse, 12.6 pounds in a year. That's like a little over a pound in something a month. But they said both the time-restricted eating, intermittent fasting, and daily caloric restriction diets led to the loss of lean muscle. That's what you're up against. You're not up against me. But that's why these new studies are so amazing. Because the researchers had looked at every diet out there for 38 years, looking for the silver bullet. Well, now they found it, and they have medical proof to back it up. And you can go and see the medical proof if you want at the New Health Conversation. I hope you'll do it. And again, this is Why diets are failing us. That's this whole podcast. That's what we do continuously. I normally do between 3 and 5 podcasts a day because there's so many people that are curious. We got 80% of America overweight and 50% are obese. I think maybe an alternative would be like, maybe we want to take a look at this. Because can anybody think of a diet that's not a form of lowering calories? What would it be? So anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your evening. I'm going to finish this podcast now, and we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. So one last time, you can go to the New Health Conversation, get a free consult, and I mean free consultation. But first, look at everything on the site. We don't want you to believe us. We don't want to have to convince you of anything. We want to give you the opportunity to do your own exploration and then decide if you want to do a free consultation. We're not going to harass you. We're not going to bother you. We don't need to do that. So everyone, have a wonderful